Welcome, my name's Jason. Today we're going to go through a gentle movement practice down onto the floor. So whenever you are ready, please join me on your backs in a reclined position, please. And we're going to start off in a bit of a shavasana here. Now, if you have troubles with your lower back, or if it hurts if it problems with your back when you straighten your legs, please feel free to bend your knees and kind of just take them together, please. And I just want you to feel the floor beneath you. So the back of the head touching the mat, the shoulders, the ribs, the back of the body. And start by just taking some gentle breaths in and out. Wonderful. So our first exercise, we're going to kind of do a little bit of twisting and kind of rolling around here. So you're going to take your arms and you're going to cross them over top of your body, and like your hands up onto your shoulders. Now again, your legs can be straight, or please feel free to bend the knees, taking the feet to the outside edge of the mat, letting the knees just rest together. And from here, all you're going to do is just roll over onto your side. Now you can go over to your left or your right side to start. It's completely up to you. Don't lead with the gaze, okay? So try to keep your shoulders aligned with the gaze and just start to roll over to the left just a little bit, just so you can kind of feel the left shoulder blade ground down into the floor a little bit more. Don't hold your breath. Release back through center. And then gently start to rotate over towards the opposite direction. Just a little bit. You're just lifting that left side up off the mat about a half inch or so. Just grounding down a little bit more through the right shoulder blade. Again, gaze stays aligned with the shoulders. Back through center when you're ready, and then over towards the left again, or the opposite direction. Good. Release and switch to the other side. If you'd like, you can flow with your breath here. Exhaling on the release. Inhaling, rotating to the opposite side. Now we're going to kind of increase this a little bit as well. So this time you kind of lift your shoulder up off the mat just a little bit more. And then again back down. Opposite way. Good, just moving gently back and forth through these two movements. Just bringing a little bit more lift and a little bit more grounding as you progress through the exercise. Good, and then bring it up a little bit more even. You can take your gaze towards the side of the mat a little bit more. Just go until you start to feel that resistance. Don't push beyond your level of where you feel the most resistance. Good. Go back and forth one more time, each direction. Eventually bringing yourself back through center. Good, releasing your arms. From here, you're gonna bend your knees if they're not already. You can have your hands down beside you. You can take your feet on the outside edges of the mat. And we're just gonna start with some gentle windshield wipers here. So you can lower your knees over towards the side, but keep that opposite shoulder grounding down into the floor. So if you're going to your right, it'll be the left side of the body grounding down into the mat. And just allow those knees just to slowly release down towards the floor. Starting off very gentle here so you can lift the knees back up when you're ready. Lowering down in the opposite way. Again, keep the opposite side of the body grounding down into the mat as best as you can. Just go to where you feel that resistance and that range of motion. Hold there, breathe. Good, back and forth, please. Just a few more times. Good. And the next time you bring your knees over towards the side of the mat, you're going to start to lift your hip up as well. So almost like if you take your knees to the right, you'll start to lift that left hip crease kind of over towards the side of the mat a little bit more. So we're just going to kind of increase this twist a little bit more each time. Let the hips ground down into the floor as you transition over towards the other side. Again, kind of lift that hip up, pushing the hip crease to the side of the mat. And as you unwind, letting the hips come down towards the mat to start, and then letting your knees come up last. Use that momentum to allow them to lower over to the opposite side. Again, lifting up the hip crease. Releasing it back down. And then over to the opposite way. We're going to start to move a little up towards our shoulders with this twist, kind of moving up the spine a little bit more. So when you lower your knees over towards the opposite, or over towards the side, you're going to start to lift up that rib cage as well. And you kind of start to take your gaze over towards the side of the mat as well. Letting everything release, you lower the ribs back down to the floor. Just kind of let everything melt as you just start to transition over to the other side. Now, when you're doing this, don't think about the destination or trying to get over to the other side. Notice the movements in the space that happens in between the destination. Shoulders release, back of the body. Again, knees come up last, almost make it effortless. Good. And you can flow through this movement a few times, and then again, we're going to start to kind of increase this more and more. So whenever you're ready, when you start to come over onto your side, you're going to lift your shoulder up off the mat, and you're going to take that arm that extends over to the side, and you're going to bend the elbow and bring the back of the hand onto the sacrum or onto the small of your back. You're going to roll all the way over onto the side of the body. When you release, let your shoulders come down to the floor. Let the back of the ribs, the hips, Let the knees come up last. You can take the gaze to the side of the room. Let the knees lower first, and then the hips, then the back of the body, all the way onto the side. Back of the hand can come on your lower back, and then lower all the way back down. Again, just allow yourself to flow naturally, organically. You can also take your gaze down towards the mat as well and kind of get a stretch even higher up into the shoulders. Softly moving back and forth, checking back in with the grounding into the mat with each transition. Again, noticing the back of the head touch the mat, the shoulders, the back of the ribs, the hips. We'll go in each direction one more time, please. Eventually just coming back through center. You can straighten your legs if you'd like. Take a moment here. This is a bit of a reset. Just kind of notice how you feel. Kind of before the exercise and now after. Excellent. This time I'll ask you to bend your knees if they're not already. You'll roll over onto your right side here, please. And if you want to put something underneath your head as a pillow or a blanket or a block, please feel free. But you'll take your arms out towards the side of the mat. Palms will be together. Your knees can be together as well. And if you'd like, you can place something in between them as well also. And all you're going to do here is just move from the shoulder blade. So you're just going to reach your fingertips out in front of you, but don't come all the way so where you roll onto the front of your body. Just allow that motion to come from the shoulder blade. So again, reaching the fingers all the way out, you'll feel the shoulder blade pulling away from the spine. And then you'll start to traction that shoulder blade all the way back in towards the spine as well. So just kind of sliding your palms together here. Keeping your arm as straight as you can. And there might not be a lot of movement here, and that's okay. Sliding back and forth. Try not to let the shoulder come up towards the ear when you're pulling it back as well. You kind of slide it down your spine a little bit. Moving back and forth. Good. Now this time you're going to start to reach those fingertips again all the way to the side of the mat, and you kind of start to roll down onto the front of the body a little bit. And then when you bring that arm back, let it slide, the palms slide across one another. Start to slide that arm all the way down the other. Start to roll over onto your back. Slide the hand across the chest. And then reach the arm over to the side, opening the chest up towards the ceiling. And then bring it back in as well, please. Bend the elbow, slide the hand across the chest, down the arm, and all the way back out. Again, you can just move back and forth through this exercise, moving as fast or as slow as you'd like, but don't rush it. Again, notice the space that happens in between the movements, the feelings, the sensations. Even acknowledging the thoughts. Good. Again, please. Good, and back through. One more time, start to bring that arm all the way out to the side. This time, keep the arm straight. Start to lift the fingertips all the way up towards the ceiling. So again, shoulder blades pulling away from the spine. Reach, reach, reach. Bring your hand down to touch the other. Or in front. And then back up. Keep that shoulder blade pulling away from the spine until you get to fingertips up towards the ceiling. And then you'll start to draw it back in towards the spine as you let your shoulders lower. If your knees lift a little, that's okay. So again, shoulder blade pulls in towards the spine to allow the lift. And then when it does, start to reach it away. So reach those fingertips away from the body. Lower the arm down. Let everything relax, and then reach it all the way back out. Again, when that arm reaches over top, fingertips up towards the ceiling, you can draw that shoulder blade back in. Let the shoulders relax onto the floor. And then come all the way back to center, to that neutral position. Good. Now we're going to do that same kind of thing, but this time we're going to take our arm over top of our head. So start to reach that hand out in front of you. Run the fingertips as close to the floor as you can. When your hand reaches over top of your head, or we'll call it like a 12 o'clock position, open your palm up towards the ceiling. Start to roll over onto the shoulders and take that arm out into, say, like a 3 o'clock position. Back the opposite way. Hand over your head. Palm rotates to the floor. Hands back to touch. And again, please. Okay, we'll go one more transition. All the way across, onto the back. Palm reaches up. And back the opposite way. Wonderful. From here, you can start to roll over onto your back. Again, take a moment before we transition over towards the other side. Notice the difference, how one side feels in the other. Just doing a light little body scan, checking back in. Good, so if you like, you can just roll over onto the other side. We'll start down onto the left again. Knees can be stacked together. Palms resting upon one another out towards the side of the mat. And we'll continue with that first exercise. Just kind of moving the shoulder blade back and forth, kind of warming up the shoulder. Just again, reaching the fingertips out, feeling the shoulder blade pulling away from the spine. Tractioning it away. And then we'll retract it all the way back in towards the spine. So again, you might not get a lot of movement here, depending on your mobility or your range of motion in the shoulders, and that's okay. Just let those palms just gently run across one another. Trying not to allow that shoulder to reach up towards the ear. Eventually, drawing that hand down the arm, all the way across the chest, rolling onto the shoulders, reaching that arm out towards the side of the mat. And then coming back to where you started, coming out the same way you came in. And again, just taking a moment, notice what happens. It's kind of different ways you can move. So what happens when you go really slow? What happens when you focus on letting the shoulders fall down to the floor first instead of just bringing the arm across the chest? Are you holding on anywhere when you're moving? Maybe in your jaw, the corners of the eyes. Just allow these movements to be as natural and organic as you can. And then we're going to do it with the arms straight as well. So whenever you're ready, reach those fingertips out again. Shoulder blades pulling away from the spine. Start to reach those fingertips up towards the ceiling. Draw the shoulder blade in. Lower the shoulders. Lower the arm over to the side. And then switch. Once again, shoulder blade reaches away. Once it reaches over your head, you can draw it back in, keeping the arm as straight as possible, lowering the shoulders down onto the mat. And then again, using that movement of the shoulder drawing in towards the spine to lift yourself back up. Once again, pulling it away and letting it come down towards the floor. One more time, please. Perfect. All right, now we'll go into our next movement here, where we'll start to take that arm over top of our head. So when you're ready, run your fingertips or your palm as close to the floor as you can. When that arm reaches over your head, rotate the palm up towards the ceiling. Start to bring that arm out to the side into that T position. Hold there for as long as you choose before we bring the arm all the way back up, rotating the palm back down to the floor, and then bringing the hand back together. So there's kind of like an internal and an external rotation through the shoulder that happens as well. So palm down would be internal, kind of more closed off, and then as you open the palm up, that shoulder comes out behind you a little more. You open through the front of the chest. You welcome all the energies into the room. And you transition back the same way you came in. One more time, please. Back through center. You can roll over onto your back when you're ready. Taking a moment there. Again, just checking back in with the body, feeling that grounding down into the floor, into the mat. We'll go through one more quick and final movement exercise here. We're going to kind of combine all of those together that we did. So keep your feet down onto the floor, knees bent, outside edges of the mat, arms out to the side. So this time, lower your knees over towards, we'll start on the left side, so lower your knees over towards the left side. Start to bring your right arm over your head. Rotate the palm down when it reaches over your head. Hands come back to touch. And then back the opposite way. Open. Palm up to the ceiling. Right arm comes down into a T position. Hips lower. Knees lift. Slowly rotate to the opposite way. And then bring the opposite arm over your head. Same thing, please. Top hand reaches over your head, palm up. Just allow everything to touch the mat to start. So again, back of the head, you roll onto the back of the head, the shoulders, the ribs come down, the knees lift. Opposite side. Opposite arm. And back. Okay, notice if there's any places where you feel like you're holding on. Just allow your eyes to relax, your jaw. Just allow the movement to happen. Just to flow. Back into your starting point. Make sure you do both sides evenly, please. I'll take you through one more rotation here, but you can continue this for as long as you choose. Just remembering it's not about the destination. It's what we learn along the way. So take time to notice the place of the motion in between the movements. Coming back onto your back when you're ready. Taking a moment there, checking back in. Sending a little bit of gratitude out to the world and for yourself. I want to thank you all for joining me. Do these exercises whenever you choose for as many repetitions as you like, and don't take it very seriously. Mobility matters.